Great. So let's have a look then at elevating the client experience, just some thoughts that I have on that. So firstly, we need to be thinking about delivering consistency and reliability, delivering a consistent service, because I think we would all agree that you cannot build trust without consistency. Consistency and reliability are the building blocks of trust. So we need to be ensuring then that every interaction with our clients, tenants, and investors is positive and reliable, from responding to inquiries promptly to handling issues professionally. Consistency obviously builds confidence in our services and in who we are as an organization. So that's important there. Meeting and exceeding expectations. It is not enough these days, given how competitive the marketplace is, to be simply addressing clients' needs. This is not good enough. We need to be in a situation where we can provide extremely memorable experiences. I often talk about delighting the client. How can we delight the client? That is what we need to be asking ourselves. Part of that is obviously, as we know, under-promising and over-delivering. Exceeding expectations obviously strengthens relationship and enhances your reputation in the marketplace. So that's the key thing there. Obviously, being proactive is very important as well, because great customer service and a great client experience doesn't happen by itself. It is, to a large extent, I would argue, the result of a number of actions that we take over time, very often, particularly if it's a long-term relationship. So what we need to be doing in terms of being proactive is anticipating potential concerns or client needs before they arise and take action to address them. And that proactive approach shows commitment and foresight. I think Steve Jobs puts it very well, actually, and I don't remember the quote exactly, but he says, our job as great account managers is not to deal with customer inquiries. It is to anticipate the needs of the client before they even articulate them, so that the client is absolutely overboiled by the brilliance of the service that they're getting. And that is how we build up that reputation as being a thought leader, really, which is what we want, of course. And then coming on to anticipating these, so understanding client motivations, we do need to take the time to understand the unique goals and needs of our clients and tenants, whether they're buying, selling, or renting. Knowing their motivations allows you to provide tailored solutions. I think the thing I always say is that even if we are, let's say, negotiating with individuals who are from very, very large entities, they might be FTSE companies or whatever, we still need to remember that the person that we're negotiating with is an individual, not necessarily a corporate. They are a corporate representative, but they're also an individual. It would be reasonable to assume that someone who is new in their role will possibly have slightly different desires and needs than someone, let's say, who's been there in their role, a very, very long time or so on. Or people from different cultural backgrounds as well will have different sorts of expectations. So we really do need to try to do our best to understand what are the individual motivations of each of those people around the table. Sometimes we might call it even value drivers. What is it that makes that person get out of bed in the morning? What is it that is going to make them want to talk to us and achieve a win-win agreement with us? Taking that into account is going to be essential. And then, of course, offering tailored solutions, customizing your service to match individual needs will create a more satisfying experience and enhance client satisfaction. I think we all know that, but the days of just offering a one-size-fits-all service to clients is long dead and buried. I'm sure many of you have heard of marketing that used to be referred to as spray and pray. This is where organizations used to send out random messaging to organizations with no tailoring whatsoever, hoping that something would stick. Of course, that now irritates clients, unless if you are sending, let's say, a written piece of communication to a client, it feels very, very individualized. It's, of course, not going to be noticed. It may even detract from the quality of the relationship. And so we do need to be personalizing everything. And then, of course, the other thing is showing empathy. We need to acknowledge the concerns or uncertainties of our clients, especially in significant transactions, address those with sympathy to build a deeper emotional connection. Of course, I'm sure many of you have heard of emotional intelligence. What is emotional intelligence? Well, emotional intelligence actually is not just about recognizing the emotional range of people that we may be negotiating with or our clients that we may be dealing with. It's also being able to recognize our own emotions and the impact that those emotions may have, in fact, on our clients. So we may perhaps feel a bit distressed or a bit distraught about something. It's taking the time to think about how we're projecting to that client based around their needs. We may think perhaps that we're being very sort of assertive, but unless we've factored in the requirements of our counterparty, there is a danger that we will be viewed as perhaps being a little bit aggressive and too forceful. So it's just making sure that we're mindful at all times of the impact of our communication on others. I always say that being truly assertive means not just considering about the quality of the message that you're delivering and the clarity of the message that you're delivering to others, but thinking about how your message will land as well. So that's the empathy part. So it's about being clear, but it's also about being empathic as well. And then, of course, we have long-term relationships as well. So here we've got what I would say is focusing on relationship building. It's very important to do that, very important to make sure that we don't focus too much on the transaction and what that means, but rather that we look at the longer term continuum with clients. And I think that's very important. I know a lot of us are under pressure because we do have targets. Some of us might perhaps have quarterly targets or whatever it might be, or indeed monthly targets. But we do need to make sure that the behaviors at all times are going to be building stronger relationships rather than damaging them. Staying in touch post-transaction, I think there's a lot there. Once a sale or a lease is closed, continue to engage with clients, send updates, invite them to events, or simply check in on them to see how things are going. Staying in touch builds loyalty. It doesn't just build loyalty, it does something else as well. It actually creates a sense of value, of continued value in the client's mind, which will cause them to see you more and more as a trusted advisor, essentially, which in turn means that they will come back to you for more information and for more requirements. And then, of course, creating a memorable experience. So going beyond the basics and offering small touches that create that memorable experience have never been more important, such as personalized thank you notes, housewarming gifts, or exclusive perks for long-term tenants. And we do need to make sure that we're a little bit careful there. We do need to be conscious, obviously, of the latest legislation concerning the Anti-Bribery Act and so on. So I would just refer you to that. So as far as you are able to do these things, I do remember many years ago sending a very large bouquet to a client, and I have to say that because of that legislation, that bouquet was very quickly sent back. So we just need to be mindful of these things.